In my annual letter last year, I kind of wrote like, here's the white paper on how to dismantle big tech. And there were two frames. One was around taxation, which we're also seeing, but the second was on this regulatory point, David, that you're bringing up. That's the simplest way to sort of break these companies down, which is if you have to engineer now, instead of one monolithic code base, multiple instantiations, where you can't even get the leverage of like, cross-border data centers. I mean, by the way, there's a really interesting thing that the Biden tax bill also proposes on this dimension, right? It's going to prevent you from sending IP, into places like Ireland and keeping it there, right? So you can't have all of a sudden, code that's running in Ireland that executes something that makes money so that you can pay Irish tax versus code that runs in America that's largely, user oriented. That's not going to happen. That's not going to be allowed anymore, right? So all of these things are happening at the same time, essentially to rein big tech in, making it almost a whack-a-mole problem inside these companies where you're fighting a tax thing. For example, Google's fighting antitrust in France. Then you're fighting antitrust at the EU level. Then you're fighting, traceability and encryption in India. Then you're fighting, inversion of and IP in America. Wow. It's like all of a sudden the lawyers inside of these companies will outnumber the engineers.
And I think a lot of this is the downstream consequences of what happened back in January when Twitter and all the other big tech companies deplatformed Trump. Remember at the time, it wasn't just, conservatives or in the US who raised alarm bells. It was Angela Merkel in Germany. It was the finance minister in France. I think India, talked about it. I think Modi had a statement about it. They all woke up and said, whoa, a head of state can be deplatformed by Jack Dorsey. He's more powerful than the president of the United States. And countries all around the world started looking at the power of big tech and realized that they're subordinate to all of these tech billionaires and oligarchs.
Tell me about Coinbase and fact check.